everybody? Welcome back to another video. Oh, that's the first time we've ever done it like perfectly. Normally we mess up. Oh my goodness, I am so excited, but at the same time so nervous for this video. This is something that I have been wanting to film for the longest time. Today we are getting our birth charts read by a professional astrologer, and by professional astrologer I mean my good friend Kim. Kim, say hello. Kim is behind the camera. She's a little bit shy. I know I said that as a joke, but honestly, Kim, she's probably gonna get mad at me for saying this, but she is so good at understanding just the whole world of astrology. She's been into it for as long as I can remember, and she's the one who kind of got me into it. Like here and there over the past few years, I've been trying to learn from her, and honestly, just through TikTok and YouTube and all these different influencers I've watched, I've just been in love with the world of astrology. I know everybody kind of has their own opinions, but no astrology slander in the comments,
yeah,
okay?
Don't come for me, I'm sensitive.
What's the definition of a birth chart? How would you just, what is the overall general definition of one's birth?
It's kind of like for construction, you know how they have a blueprint on how to build something, but it necessarily doesn't tell you like what kind of materials, or like maybe it's a different color or different shade. So it's just kind of like a blueprint of like the type of person you are.
Okay. Let me explain why I'm a little bit nervous. If you're into astrology, you would know like a lot of people tend to look up the compatibility between their chart and their partner's chart, or even someone that they don't even know. Sometimes you'll be like, oh, I'm into this person, let me look up their birth chart.
Beyonce's into astrology, so it's accurate.
I honestly do believe your birth chart does tell you a lot about a person, so we are basically just gonna hop right into it. Kim has her notes, and we are eating.
We have food. We are eating a seafood boil once again because our diet consists of nothing else.
And I got the extra spicy too. I've never tried this before from kicking crab. I'm a boiling crab bitch, but I was like, let's get kicking crab today because boiling crab is closed. So snow crab leg, that, and then I have my extra spicy right here. So
I have a complaint before we start.
okay, what?
It's about you.
What?
Okay, when me and Alyssa eat this food, she says, I'd offer you some, but you're a little bitch, because she gets a very spicy one.
So for today's question of the day, before we get started, I want every single person to comment your sun sign. And if you want to get, you know, spicy with it, then you can comment your big three, your sun sign, your moon sign, your rising sign, so we can all get to know each other.
Just to explain the birth chart like a little bit more, the ones that you're gonna see are gonna look very confusing if you haven't seen them before.
Yo, I never fuck.
So it's just this circle thing, and there's like a point like in the center of it, and that's basically who you are. And then stuff around it is like the universe and the planets and stuff just surrounding you where they are at the point of your birth.
I have a statement. Before, I was like those type of people who just thought astrology was like complete bullshit. Because you know, you'd be on Facebook or Instagram and you'd see those typical like Virgo horoscope daily, and it's like they give you a generic rundown of like a day, and then kind of hard to believe like, oh, how can this be real? Like that's accurate for everyone. Like they'll be like, Virgos are so smart. Multiple signs can be smart, you know? But it was until I kind of introduced myself to like, you know, birth charts and like your big three and like all the other planets in your houses and stuff. So I know like for someone that doesn't really know all of these things, it's easy to be skeptical, and like, much more than just like you being a Cancer, you being a Virgo, or you being a Gemini. Like there's so much more to astrology than just that.
Thank you for saying that, honestly, because it is kind of overwhelming at first when you first go into it. Everyone knows what their zodiac sign is. Like it's fed to you through all of the media, but, and then with all the horoscopes and stuff. But there's like so much more into it. But when you first dive in, it gets overwhelming, and you might not even want to dive in because it looks so confusing at first.
It is so confusing.
Yeah, I saw that big ass circle and I was like, I don't know.
Basically just look at it like a pie chart, and then all of them are going to have 12 pieces to them, and those 12 pieces, we refer to them as houses. Each house represents something different, and then those little symbols that you see, those are the planets. So the reason why there's a symbol is just because it's easier to write down a symbol than it is to write down the planet's name. And then on the outside of it, it usually has the zodiac signs. So then it just tells you like where each planet is for each sign. And then just for like a little synopsis, it's just like the planet will represent like what happens in your life, houses represent where it happens, and then the sign is how it's going to happen.
I'm scared.
It is scary, don't worry.
Don't worry, it's not scary.
Does it hurt?
Maybe if you're trying to like better yourself, you can find out like your insecurities.
We're gonna know about our insecurities.
Yeah, maybe. Or maybe like certain aspects of our life we fall like short in, maybe.
I thought we were just gonna guess like birthdays and stuff.
Imagine she started calling us Alyssa. She's like, Alyssa, you got small tits.
So I'm gonna just give an example between the three of us. So all three of us are Virgo suns. We were all born the same year also. But so here's an example on how, like, even though all three of us are Virgo suns, we're all very different just off of one placement. So for example, Alyssa's Virgo sun is in her 5th, and the 5th house is a very creative house. It's fun and it's a very social house. And Alyssa herself represents all of those things. And also where your sun is shows where you shine the brightest. So she's a ray of sunshine whenever she's around people.
That's so nice. I'm like, this shit's accurate.
That's a sign.
And Trey's sun is in his 8th house. And the 8th house is about things that are like taboo. It's about sex, mystery, and also like merged energies. So he's a very calm person. He doesn't let you know too much about himself. And he's also not afraid to challenge gender norms and to do things that are different.
Yes! I think that's so true.
What does that mean?
Like challenging gender norms. Like for example, like you're so like secure in your masculinity and you're not like those type of guys who are all like, I'm not gonna paint my nails or I'm not gonna wear that.
Yeah,
you know
I kiss
what I
my
mean?
friends.
And then what about you?
My sun sign is in my 9th house. And the 9th house is about like philosophy, teaching, higher education, and thought. And like, I'm a very good listener, and I don't really talk a lot unless like if it's something that I'm passionate about or unless I'm showing someone something like this YouTube video. Like
Basically, so we're all Virgos, but all of them are like in a different house.
Different
So
types.
is that like the reason why, like, you know, you'll have two Geminis but they act completely different?
Yes.
So would you say that, like,
It's
in
like-
your opinion, do you think people shouldn't judge people off of their sun sign?
Yes, that's honestly one thing that kind of bugs me the most is that when someone says their sun sign, they're like, oh, you're a Gemini, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah, that's
It's like,
mean.
that's rude because you have like a whole birth chart. Or even it's like, I'm not going to date a Pisces because I don't like Pisces. Like, no, that's not what astrology is for. What astrology is for is just to help you better understand someone and show you the areas of life that you're lacking in to help you communicate with someone else.
Period. Look at her go. Hit her up, y'all.
That was so well put.
All right, so now we're gonna look at Alyssa and Trey's charts. So this is called synastry, so it's looking at two birth charts together. We'll show example on the screen. So the first thing that I noticed,
I'm scared.
for relationships, a very important planet is Venus because Venus is the planet of love. So I tend to look at that one first.
Okay.
And also Moon because the Moon is about like your inner emotions and just how you express yourself like when you're alone. So Alyssa's moon is square Trey's Venus. So there's also this thing called aspects in astrology, and that's basically just the way that the planets are communicating to each other. So the way that Alyssa's inner emotions is communicating with Trey's love, it's a square, so that's a negative aspect. So they don't like each other. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, so what does that mean?
It's just gonna create tension with you guys, that it's hard for you guys to be relaxed and at ease with each other because you guys know how to push each other. You guys know how to like push each other's buttons basically.
I think it's true. But the only reason I feel like I do that is because I always want my partner to like do better. I feel like I'm very big when it comes to like self-transformation for myself. So it like trickles onto my friends, family, and loved ones. Like I always just want all my loved ones to be like the best version of themselves. And maybe that's why.
That's true. I could agree with that.
You think
I don't
so?
push your buttons though. If you want to lay in bed all day and pick your belly button.
That's true. You let me do that.
And that one actually segues really good to the moon trine Mars. So trine is another aspect. This one looks like a little triangle. And it's actually a good aspect. How Alyssa was saying earlier about how like she just pushes his button because she wants to like motivate or to basically enhance or to help him be better. And that's literally what that one is. It's just that this relationship is like full of excitement, that it motivates you guys, that your drive basically motivates him to be a better person is what it says.
Is that true?
Huh? That's true.
Okay.
I haven't gotten in a fight since being with you.
Oh, and then I remember when we first got together, all your friends would tell me that. They were like, what did you do to him? Because they'd be like, oh, he's like nice. Oh, remember? Jared would be like, I'm happy you got with her because
You're nice.
You're yeah.
There's another aspect too that actually goes into that one too, which is the Mercury conjunct Mars. This is another aspect, means that they're just like close, the planets are close together. This one just like reiterates the fact that they both have like dedication towards each other. But this one says that you guys have, when you guys first met, like I don't think I know the story of when you guys first met, but that when you first met that there was like an immediate like sexual and intellectual.
Shut up! Shut up! Are you serious?
Yeah.
Can I be TMI?
Yeah.
When I first saw him, because we went to my cousin's party. Shout out to you, Chenny. You remember this story? You know what I'm gonna say, right? You know what I'm gonna say. You know what I'm gonna say. So I remember I I went there, right? And basically what happened was I was like really shy, and then I go, and then the first person who walks in the door is this one carrying a Hennessy bottle.
Don't say that word underrated.
Oh, he was carrying
A very peculiar container of liquid.
So then he comes in, and then I looked at my friend Jerry, and then I was like, oh, there's cute guys here. Like sort of like annoyed by it because I like didn't look the best that day. And then I looked at him and I was like, my first thought when I saw you, I was like, I want to fuck him.
It's gonna be so bad.
Like right after that, I tell him that story all the time.
I thought you were very pretty that day.
Thanks.
Aww.
You thought I was tall or what?
So Mercury is like the planet of communication, and Mars is the planet of like your drive, your dedication. It's also the planet of sex, which is why
There's a
it's
planet of sex?
Yes.
How long does it take to get to sex?
And so since those two are close together, that means that they have like a good connection with each other, which is why I said you guys had that immediate sexual spark. But it also just means that your guys' communication is really, really good. You guys are able to tell each other how you're feeling, and then you guys also have a great amount of dedication.
Oh.
That's right.
Do you feel like that's true?
Yeah, because I'd be going to the barber shop and I don't feel like cutting hair, but I'm just like, you know what? She didn't eat today. But sometimes you don't even gotta communicate out loud.
Or like even if we are fighting, like he'll make a joke or something, and then I'll try so hard not to laugh, but then I end up laughing, and then we end up like resolving the fight right then and there because someone already laughed. Like, you know, when you're in a fight with your boyfriend, the second somebody laughs, it's over. Like y'all aren't fighting anymore.
Now this is going into like a not so good aspect, which is the Mars trine Pluto, which is actually kind of surprising because trine normally means that it'll be a good aspect, but with these two planets, it isn't. This is like the negative side towards that sexual attraction.
Okay.
Where like you guys are so very passionate and explosive and like are drawn to each other.
Thanks. And then?
Like you guys get like really heated emotions and build up. And so this can lead to, if there was no like good communication, that it would lead to a lot of explosive fights and break things of that.
Yeah, because all the times that we would argue, it's because like I forgot to tell you something. Like
Yeah.
I forgot, like, hey, I didn't flush the toilet today. I'm just so mad. Or like, hey, we're out of milk.
I feel like Samantha's in me. I feel like I can be a very emotional person.
Word.
So I can blow up sometimes about certain things. And when I do, it's really big.
It's not even just
I'm trying to work on
I think
it.
you're emotional doesn't. I don't have enough fingers to count how many times you've cried in a video. Or
Oh my gosh, I know. I'll cry for no reason.
And so this aspect is actually a good one, not for like relationship, but for work-wise. And you guys do work together, so it basically just means that you guys would be able to use that passion to work together on like projects together, basically. And
Oh, that's interesting. I had somebody like trying to read me my chart in the past, right? And like this is the time when I wasn't really into it, but they said the exact same thing. Something about your relationship, like you use it to work and make money or something. And at the time I was like, what does that even mean? Like, but now that you bring that up, it does make a lot of sense. Ever is my partner, like I really want to build with them. And I'm not that type of person who's like, no, I can't work with my partner. Like I would prefer to work with my partner and like have a business with them.
And now the next one. So the next one, this is actually a good one too. So this is Jupiter opposite Mercury. And so this just means that the two planets are like on complete different sides of the birth chart. Normally it's a bad aspect, but with these two planets, it's actually a good one. Basically, it's just saying that you guys are inspired. Like when you guys first met and had like your first conversation, you both inspired each other. Like
that makes sense. Do you remember like one of our first conversations?
I do.
Not from that day. That day's still bad.
Oh yeah, because that day I was like, I want to fuck him. But then I do remember like a handful of our first conversations. We both just wanted the same things, which was to just get out. Like get out of our city and like get our own place and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
and we could, when back then, we could still do because we're together obviously, but we would talk for like hours upon hours.
about stuff we wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
Like things we just wanted to do in life. Like I feel like we still do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we'll just sit like till 3 in the morning just talking about like certain life issues or like things
Right.
we can improve on.
Or the dumbest shit. What were we laughing at?
Oh my god, okay. The other day we were laughing because we saw our neighbor take a chair, right? And she was like, I know it looks like I'm stealing this chair, but I swear it's free. So I was like, oh, there's free chairs. So I went to go grab the other one and we were high, right? So then I started like panicking and I was having a panic attack because I was like, was that, because it sounds stupid, but I was like, was that lady real? Because I was so high that I was like, what if she's a figment of my imagination and she told me to steal the chair? And then imagine the person like who owns the chair, she has like her camera out. Imagine she's like, you stole my chair. And then I was like, no, I didn't, the lady stole it. And then she was like, no, look, on the camera surveillance footage, you're the only one here. And you just see me stealing the chair by myself.
Jupiter, like, it's cool that you guys said that you guys wanted to like get out, because Jupiter is the planet of like expansion, and it just means like moving and like having like dramatic shifts and things like that.
But I feel like even in like a spiritual sense too, like I've changed a lot, and I feel like I'm constantly changing. Like I never stay in the same place, even though it might not look like it, like maybe career success wise. Like when it comes to like my spirituality and like where my head is at in life, I feel like I'm always changing my perspective on things. That's why nobody call me out for past things I've said, because I might say like I like pizza one day and the next day I'm like I hate pizza, because I feel like I'm always like on and off. I see a different perspective on life and then I'm like, I agree with that. And then I like just keep changing.
And then with that same placement too, both have a very like deep connection towards like philanthropy, like a giving back to people. So since you guys are like, since you guys were able to like get out, like you guys are very committed to trying to help others.
So I'd say that's accurate.
I feel like for you too, like I feel like you're always, like you have everybody's best interest in mind. Even if it might be like, you know, like for example, your family, like you might butt heads with them a lot, but you always like are looking after their well-being, even if it's like behind closed doors. If that makes sense. Give back and help people. That's crazy how you can just see all of that from a chart.
And like the last placement that I want to get into, because I want to end this off on a really good note. It's Saturn trine North Node. So Saturn is like the planet of like restrictions, and then the North Node is like your life's purpose. Both of you guys align very well. Like you guys have very similar interests, have very similar beliefs and similar thoughts, and are both very open-minded also. Like Alyssa was just saying that like she'll learn something new and then she'll take a little bit of that, or vice versa, and it's just like a very beautiful thing to see in a relationship, because like they're able to grow together, and you guys both realize like very early on that going on a journey together is more fun than being alone.
Yeah, I can't do anything by myself. I'll be missing him. Oh, that's so sweet. I feel like that was my favorite one. So what do you think about our compatibility in general? If you were to give it like a rating, bless you.
I'm not gonna rate it.
Or like
Not rate it.
what do you think? Do you think we're like a compatible couple?
No, you guys are very compatible. And then I kind of call it almost like a push and pull. So like where one of you like pushes the other way, the other one pulls you back in.
Shut up. That's crazy that you use that analogy too, because we do that to each other all the time. Like I always tell him like if one of us is falling off, it's up to the other person to like kind of bring us back. And I guess what I mean by that is like, for example, for me, like I feel like I get in my own head a lot, and I feel like I need him to kind of like ground me and bring me back, because if he doesn't, like, not that it's his responsibility at all, but like, you know, just as a couple, I feel like you need to be there for each other in that sense. And like if he wasn't here, I feel like I'd be on edge. Like I feel like I would just be off the rails, like not even like, you know, doing my responsibilities and stuff. So I feel like we are pretty good at kind of balancing each other out and grounding each other. Like when I did my taxes, I didn't know how to do it. So
yeah, when it comes to like very regular life adulty things, not that she has like trouble with it, it's just like it stresses her out a lot easier. When it comes to the more complex stuff about just like creativity or whatever, she's very good with that. She handles that stuff very easily. But when it comes to regular life,
I get anxiety.
talking to her like tax preparer, stuff like that, or talking to the
I hate talking on the phone.
Yeah, she doesn't like doing those things.
Because I feel like they're gonna take my money or something. Yeah. Like I always think they're like gonna scam me, and like I'm just gonna go along with it.
With me, because my mom used to handle all her bills in front of me, like I'm okay with doing that stuff. I could talk to phone people, I could talk to the water bill people. I don't mind doing that stuff. But the creativity part stresses me out, and that doesn't stress her out as much.
I think now we should have like a little Q&A round. Ask the astrologer some questions. I think for people who don't really know how to read birth charts, maybe they're like the type of person who's like, okay, astrology is more than your sun sign, but I don't know where to start. Where do you suggest starting?
Started off on like Cafe Astrology. That one's a really good one. It's not super accurate with like going down to degrees, but it does give you like an overall rundown of what everything means. So that one's a really good one to start off with. I personally really like astro.com. That one just gives you the birth chart though. You can easily see, so it's mainly just getting a hold of your birth chart, trying to learn how to read it, or even just trying to find, like if you use Cafe Astrology, they have it just written out, so it may be easier if you go on there. And then you can just Google it, and then there's so many websites, so much information that you can find on those.
I have a question.
Yes. Choking.
What drew you guys to astrology?
So I was a math major in college, and honestly the thing that drew me in first was math. With seeing like the circle and all the degrees and stuff, that's what had initially drew me in. So I was like, oh, like how can this make sense like mathematically, I guess? And then I was also very skeptical, so I didn't really believe in like horoscopes and stuff. But then once I started getting into it, into the more like detailed things, that's when I was able to see like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
And I think, like, I mean, I was never a math major in college, but I think the thing that drew me into it the most was, like, here and there, maybe, like, in middle school and stuff, like I said, they have, like, those Instagram horoscopes, and every now and then they'll be accurate, right? But I was that person who was like, how can, like, you know, this general reading be for all Virgos? It wasn't until I started, honestly, Kim got me into it, I'm not gonna lie. It wasn't until like I learned a little bit more from Kim that it's much more than just your sun sign. And when I did research on my own, and honestly TikTok too really got me into it. Like doing your own research and realizing that there's so much more than just like your sun sign. I think once I saw how accurate certain people's charts were, because I think I looked at like different aspects for like all of my friends and they were all accurate. Because I feel like in like general media nowadays, a lot of people look at it for like love, or they look at it like, oh, will I get along with this person? For me, the way I look at it is like, I like how reading somebody's chart or like certain aspects in their chart will get me a better understanding of how they operate as a person. Growing up, I feel like I was so one-sided with things. If it wasn't my way of thinking, like I wouldn't agree with that person, you know? But like after like looking into astrology more, I feel like you get to like understand your friends more, your family more, and like get like a little piece of their brain almost to, you know, just be like a better friend or family member to them.
Yeah, I agree too. Like I don't like using, like doing synastry, like I normally don't do it. Just cause like if you're gonna get along with someone, you're gonna get along with someone. Like it's the effort that you put in. But I do like seeing it just so you can like where things can go negative. Like it's like, oh, if we don't communicate well, then we'll get into a lot of fights. So work on communication.
Ooh, that's a good way of explaining it. Wait, question. So would you say you don't agree with the people who are like, oh, they have this placement and he has this placement, they shouldn't be together? Like, do you agree with those people or you don't?
I personally don't, just because I'm like, if you want to be with that person, like if you really want to be with that person, you'd do anything to be with them. I personally don't agree with them.
Nice. Yeah, because I see it all over TikTok all the time. Like some people are like, oh, like he has Pluto in this, watch out for him, sis. And it's like, no, I feel like at that point people are just like using astrology as a way to like borderline bully people or like, you know? So it's good to hear like from an astrologer's perspective. Did you enjoy the food, guys? Mm-hmm. What would you say to people who are like skeptical about astrology? And why do you think it's like accurate in your own perspective?
I know a lot about astrology, but there's way more that I can learn. Your sign gets divided up into even just 10 degrees of the 30. So the reason why it's 30 is because of like 360 degrees for a circle. There's 12 of them, so 30 degrees for each sign. But it goes down to even 10 degrees. And zodiac signs and all that, it might sound like a lot of like made up thing, but it goes down to degrees and even like 0.01 degrees. Everything affects it, which is why you need to know an accurate birth time, or else it won't give you the correct results. It can go into like so much more that I didn't even touch on. Like I didn't even touch on our moon signs, didn't touch on what each planet meant, what each house meant. I just went over the aspects, which is just one part of it. But there's so much more that you could do with it.
And like we were just talking off camera too, it's crazy because I mean I haven't like dove into this world of astrology. Some astrologers even study like the charts of stocks, right? And Kim was saying like certain businesses. What did you say about them?
Like some of them will hold off their start date just to make sure that they have a good birth chart when they do go public.
And like they just use astrology for all that. Isn't that crazy? Like I don't know. We should look up Tallulah's chart.
Yeah, and if it's not hurting anyone, then...
Yeah, if it's not hurting anybody, then by all means.
Different strokes for different folks. If you're not into it, you're not into it.
So I think the number one thing I learned from this is that we're compatible.
But we've been through that, sis.
How do you feel?
I feel great, I just ate.
But how do you feel about the reading?
I think it went well.
You think so?
I think it was accurate. I've learned so much more than I did 20 minutes ago.
Do you feel like you would like look up your own chart on your own and stuff?
If I understood how to do it, yes.
Because I catch him here and and there, like he'll be like, oh yeah, I met my friend and they're a Virgo. Like you like bring up astrology sometimes, and you're like, oh yeah, I met this person, and like you'll know their sun sign and stuff. So it would be cool if you like looked into it. I'm just blown away with all of this information. And you guys, like if you have any questions about astrology, leave it below in the comments. Don't be shy, because Kim will go through each one and answer them. Like
I really will.
yeah, and then make sure you guys follow her on Instagram too. I will leave her Instagram up here, and she's on TikTok as well. You guys can DM her if you don't feel comfortable, you know, dropping a comment. If you just want to like message her directly, like she will answer all of your questions. And I honestly recommend everybody go through and like do a little deep dive on astrology right now, because I first get started,
it's hard to stop.
it's this whole world. Yeah, like there's still stuff. I mean, Kim even says so herself, like she's more experienced than I am, but there's still stuff that she can learn. Like it's just all endless, and I think that's what's so fun about it. Okay. We love you guys. Make sure you follow us on all of our socials, especially TikTok. We're way more active on there. And we have a P.O. box. If anybody wants to send us stuff from your small business or just write us a letter or anything, you can go ahead and do that. And oh, and if you're still here, comment moon. Comment moon if you're still here and you watched through the whole video. Okay, love you guys. Bye.
Bye.